This movie begins with 17-year-old Tail presenting a monologue before two judges. Her piece is interesting, no doubt about that. Sadly, the judges stop her midway. They are impressed but are concerned about her age. Tail states that she's almost 18, but the reaction of the judges implies that their hands are tied. They need someone more mature and with enough experience for the role. Tail tries to woo them into accepting her. She says her passion and creativity give her an edge, but the judges will stick to their mode of operation. In the calmest of ways, they thank her and ask that she excuse them. Tail leaves disappointed, arriving home with no will to warm up to anyone. Her mom tries to cheer her up, but Tail just wants to sleep and forget her woes. But Tail doesn't give up on acting. She goes back to her group to act in the comfort of their home, no judges knocking her off. Seated with her team, the Uriah Amateur Theater Group, Tail reads John Fosse's piece to them. Some of the listeners can't help but mention how depressing the piece is. They're rehearsing for a drama that will be presented to kids and can't possibly present something this depressing for children. Besides, there won't be a candid time for a change in the existing plans. They say this in one accord, but it is Tail who breaks it. She thinks that anything worth doing is worth doing well. Everyone else is reluctant to do something new, more concerned about their target audience and what appeals to them. Tail is much more concerned about their craft and how they must challenge themselves. Acting in a play by John Fosse is the challenge she thinks they need. Tail even suggests that they get an experienced actor to be their director. At this point, a few of them buy the idea. The case is solved. Tail begins the hunt for an experienced actor and doesn't have to look far before finding Lars. She first encountered him at her workplace, where a brief exchange between Lars and his friend Jakob unknowingly set the stage for this moment. Lars, who is woefully playing darts, seems to be so engrossed in it that when Tail shows up, he doesn't even look in her direction. Tail states her reason for the visit regardless, but Lars isn't interested. As Tail goes on and on, he begins walking away. Tail doesn't stop talking even after he shuts the door against her. But Tail doesn't give up. This time, she begins reading John Fosse's drama to get Lars's attention. Lars still doesn't give in, shouting at her to go home. He eventually tells her to stop stressing about having him work with them, expressly telling her that it won't happen before leaving her in his compound yard. The next day, Tail and Nora attend the teen party with other members of their group. There they encounter Jakob, the photographer through whom they met Lars for the first time. Nora and Jakob suggest that Tail involve Lars in their drama. Unknowingly to them, Tail has tried. Tail knocks it off to avoid repeated disappointment. A group of boys led by Vegard is cornering Johannes, Tail's friend, wanting to ridicule him. Scared of being mobbed, Johannes begins drinking the vodka he was handed. Eventually he's down, almost unconscious while they toy with him. Tail walks in on them and confronts them. One of the boys restrains her, likely intending to subject her to the same treatment as Johannes. Lars wanders into the gathering, disinterested in anyone else. He mutters a few words and turns around to leave. This angers Tail, who screams at the top of her lungs. She bears her mind on how selfish Lars is, wondering what adult would walk into a group of young boys humiliating someone and wouldn't care to stop them. Tail's words pierce through Lars's conscience. He turns back and dismisses the young boys while calling Johannes and Tail his actors. Tail is comforted, not just by the rendered help, but by the possibility that Lars might have just agreed to be their director. The next day, Lars goes over to assist Tail and her team. He's shocked to discover that they are all teenagers. Well, he has to do what he has set out to do. Lars has a fondness for liquor. He goes with a bottle everywhere, sometimes hiding it in his jacket. While he drinks, the team shares the piece with him. It talks about love between two people. Lars seems to be hard on them while asking questions, but it's needed to toughen them. They begin presenting the drama, but Lars notices the disconnection between the actors and their roles. He also notices that the actors can't connect with each other. Seeing how far they can go, he tells Tail to kiss Johannes. They do, but he isn't impressed. He sends Tail to a corner and asks another actor to do the same to her. Same story. The actor then confesses that he's just a musician on the team. Lars insists that they need a new lead actor. Neither of the current ones would do the job well. Tail and her friend are posting notices for an audition when Vegard and his friends accost them. Vegard threatens to use a staple machine on Tail's private part, handling her roughly for a while before letting her go. That same day, Lars comes with the girls to confront Vegard. The first person who acts rude to Lars gets his balls squeezed as a form of deterrent to the others. When Lars finds out who the real culprit is, he changes his reason for being there. He asks that Vegard attend the audition or risk being reported for trying to forcefully have carnal knowledge of Tail. Tail is mad at Lars. How could he offer a character like Vegard a role in their drama? Lars cares only about doing his job as their director, regardless of their feelings. He insists that his idea will stand. Vegard and his friend keep being a nuisance. They are caught on camera vandalizing a house. The next day, Vegard's coach calls him into his office. Vegard has had enough cases that can ruin his sports contract. Lars is seated there with a proposal. He wants Vegard to join the theater, ready to dismiss every wrong Vegard has done. Vegard's coach thinks it's a good deal, as this is the only way Vegard gets to keep his contract. Grudgingly, Vegard accepts. It's his first day joining the team. Lars is having the team pantomime different animals. Vegard proves stubborn during his turn. He infers that he won't stoop so low to be ridiculed. For now, Lars owns Vegard. This means he'll tell Vegard what to do, and Vegard won't hesitate. So Vegard goes on to do as Lars has said. Vegard's first shot at acting is almost a disaster. Reading from the script doesn't give him an edge. He even tears the script mistakenly, and the whole team except Lars is disappointed. Vegard has had enough, though, storming out while the team laughs at him. Lars is adamant that Vegard can pull this off, so he reminds Vegard of the deal, and then he gets him back inside. Lars has them do the mirroring exercise, which helps build a connection between pairs. Tail and Vegard are paired together. They start jittery, but as the exercise progresses, Tail begins to relax. The moment Lars calls it to an end, Vegard pulls away abruptly, leaving Tail hanging. Much later, Tail meets with Lars. She wants to convey the resolution of the group concerning Vegard to him. They've decided that Vegard has to leave. Lars knows Tail's reason for the visit. He immediately starts encouraging Tail on the need to stick to harder challenges that would propel her to greater heights. He insists on Vegard as her co-lead actor and urges her to find the time to bond with Vegard. Only on this note would her project be perfect. Tail goes back to inform the team that Lars is holding on to the idea of using Vegard. Tail is passionate about the project, so she takes Lars's advice. The next day, she visits Vegard and finds Emma there. Emma welcomes Tail in, and when Vegard steps out of the shower, he's surprised to see Tail. Tail mentions that it's Lars's idea that they hang out. Tail wants to know what Vegard likes doing, but Vegard is in the mood to spite Tail by kissing Emma passionately. As Tail storms out, promising to tell Lars of Vegard's bad behavior, Vegard runs after her, begging to amend things. He promises to hang out with her. Vegard takes Tail to a spot for a meal. As they chat and get to know each other better, his friends show up, urging him to join them. When Vegard refuses, they leave in anger. Seeing this, Tail chooses to be considerate and encourages him to go with them. The next day at rehearsals, Tail and Vegard continue playing their roles, and their chemistry gradually builds. For Vegard, the motivation to perform well is simple. He has a football game to catch. As soon as they wrap up, he wastes no time and heads off. Tail accompanies Vegard to his football game and cheers him up. At the end of the game, they go back to the studio, where Lars makes them roll over each other, as both a form of exercise and a bonding strategy. Lars' strategy begins to affect Vegard and Tail. Tail even takes Vegard to his workplace, where she shows Vegard her favorite art picture. It's an erotic one that Vegard likens to pornography. Vegard and Tail take their bonding further. They go to a beach, and Vegard teaches Tail how to surf it. Tail instantly falls in love with it. There, Vegard finds out that Tail also belongs to a band. After the surfing class, Vegard attends one of the band's sessions with Emma. Subsequently, they rehearse their lines alone, but with each other, in their thoughts. When they meet to rehearse, Vegard notices a part of the script that requires them to get intimate. Vegard doesn't think it's appropriate. Tail goes on to educate him on how it is something actors must do, without strings being attached. Vegard goes over his lines. This time he delivers it perfectly, and Tail is proud. The smile on her face says so. Tail leans over and kisses Vegard on the lips, prompting Vegard to withdraw himself. When Vegard asks what that was for, Tail says she's only in character. Vegard is put off, so he gets up and leaves for football practice. Lars arranges a mini-camp for the actors. There, Tonja, one of the team members, makes advances at Vegard, and it works. In no time, Tail sees them making out in one of the rooms. This throws her off, as she even throws up. Johannes comes to her aid, and they end up kissing. Johannes feels wrong about the moment even though he loves it. He knows that Tail isn't for him. That evening, Tail confides in Lars that she is in love, but with the wrong person. She can't seem to control herself anytime the person is around. Lars then advises her on what to do. It's morning, and everything seems hard on Tail. As they play football, Vegard doesn't mind her tackling Tonja so hard that it makes her sad. Seeing Vegard and Tonja kiss and make out makes her even sadder. After a rehearsal session, Tonja and Tail get talking. Tonja finds out that Tail might be in love with Vegard, so she reveals that whatever happened at camp was a fluke. Tail doesn't even give her a listening ear. That evening, Vegard breaks up with Emma without proper reasons. Tail then finds her way to Jakob's house. In no time, she gets Jakob to sleep with her. Lars, who is also in the house, doesn't scold her, which infuriates her. She lashes out, venting unnecessarily, but Lars gets it. Tail is in love with Vegard. Lars then spends time telling Tail about his love life. He's made so many costly mistakes, and now finds it hard to decide between either staying miserable or returning to his one true love. Finally, they make plans to present their play. A crowd is in attendance at the theater. Tail and Vegard go on stage and begin presenting. The dialogue seems different this time, but it's just Tail pouring her heart out while delivering a perfect depiction of her character. While the other members of the team see it as improvising, Tonye knows that Tail is only talking from a place of love for Vegard. They kiss at any given opportunity till the drama ends. When the drama ends, Tail and Vegard get compliments. People can't believe that they could do so well. Lars doesn't forget to mention that the story he shared earlier was a lie just to make Tail feel better. He then wishes them well before leaving. Tail and Vegard finally have time for each other. His toughness is only on the outside. Deep down, he's a softie. It takes Tail calling him a moron and daring him to kiss her before he finally does. And when he does, it's with a cute smile, as if he's been waiting for this moment all his life.